Okay, gang, let's get started. My name is Charlie Coiner, and I'm the owner of FirstDown PlayBook. More importantly, I'm a 30-year football coach. Our goal with the youth football ChalkTalk is to slow down and break down an element of the offense or defense to where every little part of it should be understood by everyone who attends here. And making that point, there is no such thing, and I mentioned it earlier, some of you already heard this, that there is no such thing as a dumb question. So get your questions answered because there are a lot of coaches out there that sit in clinics and never raise their hand, have a question, and sure enough, that comes back to bite them in the rear during the season. So I'll be on here tonight. Kendall Acho, who works with me at FirstDown PlayBook and is a co-owner of FirstDown PlayBook, will be here as well, and she'll be manning the chat section, all right? I don't know if you can say manning when it's a female doing it, but she'll be in charge of that. So if you have questions, just go ahead and send them in the chat section, and we'll get to them at the end. Don't want to slow down, hold everybody up, just answer a question during it. So the sweep run game, all right, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And I froze the slideshow right here for a reason. This is a sweep, all right, a buck sweep, which is a very common wing T play, and it's from one of our coaches that's using FirstDown PlayBook right now, and really likes it, and he sent us in an endorsement. So I'm just pointing out that I'm going to show you FirstDown PlayBook sweep plays tonight. There are a lot of different versions. In fact, I've got a window opened up. We have 6 pages of sweep plays in FirstDown PlayBooks. All right, and I'm not even talking about that we block them up against different defenses. Now, some of them are varsity level. Some of them are probably a higher level than you'd want to use at the youth football level. But just telling you, A, how many different ways there are to run a sweep, and B, just how many are in there. And once again, this is a coach that's drawing this play up from scratch, all right? And he's drawing up a buck sweep. He calls it a 42 buck sweep, all right, against a 6-2-3 defense. So I just want to point that out before I shrink the screen up here, all right, and get started with our slides. All right, let me do this right here. Okay, let me get the Zoom stuff out of the way if I can. All right, so a couple elements of a sweep as we define it. The first thing about a sweep is obviously it's a perimeter play. Perimeter play meaning that it's going to hit somewhere outside, you know, the plan is anyway, for it to hit somewhere outside of your last player, all right, on the line of scrimmage that's attached to the center guard tackle. Now, you can run a sweep play to a tight end. You can run a sweep play to a tight end and a wing. You can run a sweep play to an open end. All right, it's a little bit different, and I'm going to show you one of those as we get to it. But as a general rule, once again, the definition of a sweep is that it's going to hit out here on the perimeter. Now, when you can do a sweep with really any back, you can do a jet sweep. I'm going to show you that. You can even do a quarterback sweep. I know some of you have rules that state that your quarterback cannot run the football in your league. Some of you can, but you can actually have a quarterback run with the sweep. I'm going to show you one of those tonight. I do want to point out that the difference, there is a difference in a quarterback sweep and a quarterback bootleg. All right. A quarterback sweep is when the quarterback is going to essentially get behind all the blocking and run to the same side blocking. A quarterback boot would be when the quarterback is either going to fake a toss, fake a handoff to the one side, and then keep the ball around the other. All right, that's a different kind. That's a bootleg run, and it can be a boot pass. And we'll get into some of those down the road in coming weeks. But right now, everything is going to the same side with a sweep. Now, you can toss a sweep, you can hand off a sweep, and once again, the quarterback can just keep the sweep. So we'll look at different versions of that as we get going. You can see I've got most of them opened up right up here at the top. Now, what's the blocking scheme for a sweep? Now, you're going to have some people tell you that the blocking scheme needs to be a down, around scheme, or at least you're going to have somebody pulling. All right, I'm going to show you various different schemes tonight of how you can block a sweep. All right. In my opinion, humble or not, you can block a sweep any way you want to, as long a sweep is a sweep is a sweep. A sweep is when you get to the perimeter, all right? How you get to the perimeter is your business. Now, the couple different ways that really the two main ways that you can block a sweep up front are what we call really an ABC, all right, scheme. And that's where last week we talked about the A gap, B gap, and C gap when we were talking about the 6-2 defense. Same thing when you're looking at it from the offense. The gap in between the center and the guard is the A gap. The gap in between the guard and the tackle is the B gap. The gap in between the tackle and the tight end is the C gap. And outside of the tight end is the D gap. Now, the reason I bring that up is that's why it's named ABC blocking scheme. Essentially, what you're going to do is on the front side of an ABC scheme, you're going to block down if there's anybody that's a threat in your gap. So if I'm the guard right here and I'm front side, there is nobody backside that I need to block down on, right? So I'm going to pull. If I'm the tackle right here, is there any threat? Yes, there's a person right here, a tackle. Even though he's lined up head up, he could stun over here and ruin our play. So I've got to block down. If I'm the tight end over here, that end could do the same thing. I've got to block down. Down, down, around is another way that it's called. I'm just calling it ABC so you understand that on the front side, you're just taking care of your gap with a down block and you're going to pull around. On the back side, you can do that with your pulling guard. All right. I've even seen people pull their tackle in youth football. You have to be careful about that. It's a long way to get there now. If you start pulling that tackle, you better have a pretty athletic player over here. But I'm going to show you where we have some sweeps in here where we're pulling both guards, okay? So once again, a down and around scheme. Now, there are two different ways to approach this. Some coaches will go into it and just dictate that I'm going to pull the guard no matter what, all right? And I'll show you. In fact, I think this scheme right here, that's the way it's drawn up. But then there are other coaches who are going to give more responsibility to their players, and based on the front, based on the defense that you're playing against, the players can go through that common sense thing that I just did with you. Do I have somebody to block down on? I do, block down. I do, block down, okay? Now I'm going to pull around. Now you'll notice that with this sweep scheme right here, we haven't even blocked the end guy on the line of scrimmage. There are some coaches that do not like to do this. In other words, they're always going to try, if the end man on the line of scrimmage has a piece of your tight end or your tackle, they're going to try to reach that because they don't feel good about letting this player possibly run up the field and box in your sweep. All right. The only thing I'll tell you about that is there's just a lot of different ways of doing things. If you feel that way about it, you can block it that way. I wouldn't blame you. But just understand that one of the ways to keep this end guy from running up the field and boxing in everything is some of the things that we talked about the last time when we did the power game. And so it's an important point to make. The first thing that you need to do, and we do a series starting somewhere probably about right after the 4th of July. It's called Youth Football Help, Youth Football Help, I believe is what we call it. But we talk about just how to go in and organize your thoughts as a youth coach. And one of the things that we firmly believe in is there's no difference in you and Bill Belichick when it comes to this. With your offense, you better come in and look at what you've got, look at your personnel, but then the next thing you better do is you better make sure that you've got a play that hits over here, a play that hits over here, a run play that hits in the middle, and maybe a play that hits, somewhere in between the A and the B gap. And then you want to have passes and different things like that. If you have one area of the field that you don't attack, then the defense eventually is going to realize that, and they're going to cheat. So you don't need to have as many plays as the New England Patriots, obviously, but you do want to have a play that if they cheat somewhere and you see it, you can start running that play. And the reason I bring that up right now is if this backer is running up the field, boxing in your sweep, that means you need to run a power at him, kick him out, and run up inside of him. And so we'll get to that later, but that's why you can actually run this scheme like this. All right, so let's take a look at this scheme right here. Let me shrink this screen up a little bit. All right, and you can see this is against the 6-2. So let's take a look versus a 4-4. All right, so now in a 4-4 scheme, your backer's sitting out here. Now you've got what we call 7 technique of his end. So the tight end is going to have somebody to block down on. So your tackle can block down, your guard can pull. once again, now your center may want to step, front side in case that tackle were to stunt this way. The good thing about tossing a sweep, coaches, is that you don't have as much concern about what happens on the backside. If this were a quarterback sweep, you got to be really careful about full zoning the backside and turning a backer loose, okay? But if you're just going to toss it, there should not, if your back is good enough, and I'm sure he is, there should not be any chance that somebody can run him down from the backside if you're going to toss a wide play out here. But make no mistake, now it needs to be a wide play. You couldn't run your power play like this, all right? Because if you did and it hit up inside here in the A-B gap, somebody can come down the line of scrimmage and make that play. But keep in mind that if you're tossing it, you should be okay for everybody on the backside to full zone the backside. What do I mean by full zone? I mean that this guard and this tackle and this tight end are going to drop step with their right foot, and they're going to take a 45 with their left, and they're really going to just run through their gap. If that tackle shows up, you block him. If he doesn't, you go to the next level and get the backer, all right? If that tackle didn't show up, guess who he's going to show up for? He's going to show up for the backside tackle. The tackle will block him, on and on and on. So you just make sure you're taking care of the most inside gaps on the backside. On the front side, you don't want any penetration, so now you're blocking down, pulling around, okay? Now you'll notice in the backfield right here, all right, we only got one lead blocker. So that lead blocker, he becomes a back without the ball. He is a back without the ball. So what he's going to look is to block the next thing that shows outside of your pulling guard. And it's important that you tell your players this. All right, they need to have a rule. I'm going to show you where this guard is going to pull up inside here in a second. All right, because at the end of the day, you really don't need him out there because you got the fullback out there. Somebody starts escaping outside this end, for instance, that fullback can clean him up on the way to this backer right here. All right, so let's just go, and while I'm on this picture though, let's just talk about all the positions here real quick. Now you're out, if you've got an outside receiver and they're blocking on a perimeter play, all right, you want that Z receiver to be aggressive on that corner, but they want to be under control. All right, so they want to be in a staggered stance, inside foot up, looking at the ball. On the snap, they want to explode off. They want that corner to think that it's a pass play initially. If they can get that corner to back up 5 yards, that's 5 more yards you don't have to block him. And so at the point where the corner realizes what's going on, what you want to do with a sweep play is you want him to widen his base, try to get on really probably the outside number, but it's more down the middle and block. But you need to make sure, and I'm going to talk about it here in a second, that your back understands how to help this block and how to help the fullback's block. Now, what does the fullback do? Once again, I talked about the fullback is a back without the ball. So he wants to run this play just like he was going to be a back, but he's going to look inside out for anything to block. If I'm coming up here and something happens, and I'm going to show you where that guard may have to go up inside and that tight end loses his block, no sense in running on up here. If that tight end loses his block and you're back here blocking the heck out of an inside backer and the end makes a play, you don't have a play. So you got to get the play started outside. So if I'm the fullback, I'm coming around here and I'm looking, okay, and I'm securing this D gap out here. D gap secured, now get up on the backer. If it happens the way you want it to and the tight end blocks that end and the guard pulls around and gets up on this backer right here, all right, then this fullback can go up here and get this inside backer. If it happens to where the pulling guard pulls up around and this backer fights for width, which he probably will, the guard can come up on the inside backer and the fullback can block his outside backer. It's just important that you give them rules. And the rule really is going to be that everybody wants to look inside out. If the guard looks inside out, he's probably going to end up on this inside backer. If the fullback looks inside out and everybody gets their block, he's probably going to end up on this outside backer. Now, let's talk about the backfield if you're tossing it. Very important. You typically want if you're taking the ball under the center, or even if it's in a shotgun, you want your quarterback to reverse out, all right? It's a much smoother toss pitch to your tailback. So if he fronts out, it's kind of like, he's sitting there and he's kind of got to pause and wait for the tailback to get going. If he'll open up and you just tell him, take the snap, open up at 6 o'clock. He should take his left foot and open up right back here and put a nice toss, a nice soft toss out in front of your tailback. All right, so that he doesn't have to slow down, or she doesn't have to slow down when she takes the toss. Now, after you do that, a couple of different ways you can do it. You can take your quarterback and get them out in front of your sweep too. You see that more in youth football than you do in high school, college, or you never see it in the NFL because you don't want to put your quarterback in danger out there blocking a backer. But sometimes in youth football, that's your best player. If you want to toss it and get him out in front for a blocker, so be it. But he's going to do one or two things, and regardless if he's going to get out in front of it or boot away, if he boots away, he'll help hold this backer out here. Either way that he does it, he wants to reverse out. If the tailback needs to be in a balanced stance. They need to open up at 90 degrees to the right here, get their eyes on the quarterback, see the toss all the way in. Now, if you're, if you're a great running back in the NFL or college or even maybe high school, you can afford to get your eyes down here and try to see what's going on initially, and you'll see it peripherally, but you better be careful even at the high school level. At the youth level, it better look that ball in. All right, you look the ball in, there'll be plenty of time to get their eyes back out here. Now, let's talk about a very important misunderstood part about a sweep play, and that's that the sweep play doesn't have to go outside of everybody. Odds are that sweep play is not going to go outside of this receiver right here, because what's going to happen, we talked about this last week. What does this corner have 9 times out of 10? He's got contained, so he's going to be outside. He might not be the biggest guy in the world, but his coach told him to get outside. So right now, what you want is you want the Z to try to get outside leverage on him, but if the corner starts fighting for width, just run him out of bounds. Now, if I am the back, I want to take and try to stretch the defense for width first. I want to get everybody running for width. And it's important that your fullback understands that, because if he understands that your back is going to do that, he understands that backer right there is going to fight for width, because he's taught to be an alley player, outside. And so what the fullback or the fullback wants to do is keep working for outside leverage. At the last second, that tailback can do what you call jump cut. Work for width. If the fullback can get the width and reach the backer and the corner's outside, so be it. Hit it running, all right? You score a touchdown right down the alley right here. But if that backer fights for width, what's going to happen is that tailback wants to put his right foot in the ground and jump cut back inside, all right? But he can do that because he's afforded width by helping the fullback and making that backer run for width first. If he did that initially, everything would get bottled up in here. So get width first, put your right foot in the ground, then get back up inside, no penetration inside, cut off the backside, and you should have a pretty good football play. All right, now, let's just take a real quick look right here, and then I'm going to get to some of the other schemes. All right, now notice what the guard is doing right here. Because you've got an outside 9 technique, is what we call it on the tight end right here, but he's got a piece of the tight end. What we would tell a tight end there is, okay, you need to try to reach this guy right here. But you need to understand that you're going to have help. You might have the guard. If the guard sees it, sees it kind of weird, or if the end comes inside or whatever, then the guard can still go outside. But the fullback is going to be there either way. So what you do is you just outside zone this defensive end, understanding you're going to have help from somewhere. If I'm the guard and I pull and that end fights for width, understanding that the tight end and fullback have him, I just want to turn up, because whoever comes off of this end can get the front side backer now. I can get the number 2 backer. The center will get the number 3 backer. The zone scheme will get the backside backer. The corner will be free over the top. Just trying to point out, though, that if you're a puller, 9 times out of 10, the best thing to teach a puller is if you see a big hole, get up in it and go block somebody. Because if there's a big hole here, guess what's happened? The play got stretched. Don't you be a part of that stretch. Now you got the tight end getting stretched. You got some big guard out here stretching. He's bumping into the fullback, and you got a big quagmire out here instead of a football play. All right, let's look at a 5-3. Kind of the same thing. he's got that option to go up inside. You know, he doesn't know what's going to happen if they're going to stun or whatnot. And then finally, we'll look at a 5-3 bear. All right. Now you've got a down block and he's pulling, but he's got the same thing. And odds are that he will. If you've got a 9 technique and a 3 technique, more often than not, that guard will pull up inside. All right, let's go. Let's open up some of these others. All right, here's a hand sweep. All right. Now, with this hand sweep, I do have the quarterback, because it's in the pistol right here, I do have the quarterback opening up to the play side. Now, you can reverse out and hand this, but with the pistol, they're so close together. If he takes that snap and just opens up at 45 right here, you can tell him to open up at really, I guess that would be 5 or 7 o'clock on a clock, and that's a good way to teach quarterbacks. And put that ball in the tailback's belly. The tailback should have his left elbow up right here. He should open at 90 degrees, have his left elbow up, let the quarterback put it in his stomach, all right, and then the quarterback will continue on the boot fake. Secure the handoff first. Once again, get width, stretch the defense first. Now, what's different about this blocking scheme is that we're turning loose this backer right here, all right? We're blocking down, and we're pulling the backside guard like I talked about. Don't want to spend all day on all of these. All right, in fact, I've got this in edit mode just so you can see that. Now, let's say that, let's say you got something like, if you were doing the alphabet scheme, ABC scheme is what I should say, you could do something like this. You could even, if you got an athletic enough center, you could come in and block down with your guard. Didn't need to do that. But you could pull your center. Now, you might not have a center athletic enough to do that, depending on the age, all right, that you're coaching. But if you're in a true alphabet scheme and they're playing that, the question to the guard is, do I have somebody to block down on? Yes, I do. Okay. And then out here, I really don't, so I can go next level. All right. Or I could even pull the tackle right there. All right. Now, I don't want to get too crazy on you about that, but I'm just trying to point out that that's what the alphabet scheme is, that you're allowing your players to, anybody to block down on, block down. If I don't, I'm going to pull. Okay. Now let's go take a look at, all right, here's a G sweep weak. You don't necessarily, if you want to come out in a 3-by-1 formation, both receivers over here, all right, you can do that. And if that happens where they move a corner over to that side, then maybe you've got a situation over here to where you got an opportunity to attack them to the weak side. And you got the same thing. Block down, block down. You just got to be careful. Is that backer going to box it in? You need to just look at how your defense is playing it, the team that you're playing. If you want to go ahead and reach that F, you wouldn't be wrong either. But I think the best way of doing it back over here to the boundary is down, down. Once again, use your alphabet scheme and get your backside guard involved as well, because you don't have an extra fullback right here. You've got one back, and you're tossing it and just trying to take advantage of them overplaying the 3-by-1 set. Let's go take a look at some of the other schemes here. Right, there it is versus a 4-4. Here's a 5-2, which is really good against the 5-2 because they're probably going to put that safety over here to the 3-by-1 to cover that tight end. Here it is versus the 5-3, a 5-3 bear. All right, now, another thing that you can think about when you're running a sweep, particularly at the youth level, is just getting numbers. So you can go with an unbalanced formation. Positives about an unbalanced formation are this. They are that you obviously getting more blockers over here. This is about a student body. This is so student body. It's Ohio State, right? I mean, it's 50,000 students right over here because you've got an unbalanced formation with an extra tight end. You got a quarterback getting in behind 3 backs. I mean, that's you know, now you would think that the defense would really adjust over here for that. And we've adjusted to where the defense is treating the guard like the center. Now, the thing you better be careful about, particularly if it's going to be a quarterback sweep, once again, is that you better be careful that this corner out here can't come off the edge and run your quarterback down. Won't matter how many blockers you got out here. If they've got a good player you don't block the backside edge, and he's slowing down to get behind these blockers and somebody runs him down. But it is a way, once again, that you can get an edge out here for your perimeter play. Unbalanced right, out of a wishbone, quarterback sweep right. Let's go take a look at some of the other. Let's look at a 4-4 split. Okay, same deal. You're pulling that backside guard. Now, keep in mind as well, coaches, that backside guard's got a lot further to go. All right, and I've even got the fullback coming up inside if that end fights wide, because there's no need, because you've got the 2 and the 3 already outside of there. So once again, just a way though to scheme it up. Now, and coaches, let me point out, don't try to run all of these things I'm showing you tonight. Pick 1 or 2 that you like and run that, because if you try to run everything, you're not going to run anything right. All right, here it is versus a bear. All right, let's go take a look at. Okay, here's okay. Now this is another way that you can block a sweep. Now this is drawn up more like a man scheme. I've got it in the edit mode right here. So you don't have to pull anybody. I know some coaches will tell you, for a sweep, that's sacrilege, that you have to pull somebody. But you can run an outside zone path with your offensive line. I've got a wing in here. I've got a fullback leading. And really, I've got a better picture of it up here of this jet sweep I'm going to show you. But really what it is, it gets back to that backside scheme I showed you. Everybody's going to block that scheme. Now, I'm showing actually the players here who they probably are going to end up blocking. But you can actually zone the D gap, zone the C gap if you're the tackle, zone the B gap if you're the guard, on and on and on. Everybody just drop steps and goes on an outside zone path, and they block anything that shows up in their path. On the edge out here, you got to be a little more firm, because you got to get the play started. If somebody out here is setting an edge on you and you can't get outside, it's not going to do you any good. So that's why I've got the Z working up with the Y to the next level, to the inside backer. But everybody else is going, because if you lose your man, lose your defender, lose them back over here, because the play is gone. And once again, this is a quarterback sweep. You need to be careful that if you turn somebody loose on the backside, they can't run him down. If you toss it to that 2 and that 1 either boots out or gets in front, there's no way anybody on the backside should catch your 2. Now let me just show you a different example of this. It shows up in a jet sweep. Now this blocking scheme, the way I've got it drawn up here, is more like it, where you've got players just drop, step, and go. Drop, step, and go. Now, the reason I've got them drawn like this is this is a play that's showing up even in youth football now. It's showing up everywhere from the NFL on down. But the jet sweep is obviously a favorite play. Jet sweep meaning you've got somebody coming from outside the box, typically a receiver, typically bringing them in motion. And as they come in motion, the ball is snapped, and the quarterback will hand it or flip it to the receiver coming across on the sweep path. Now, a lot of this is still the same. But what you're getting here with a jet sweep is you're getting, when the quarterback does that, now you can do it 1 or 2 ways. The quarterback can actually hand it and then go, all right? Or the quarterback can take the snap and go and take his right hand and hand it to the X as they pass each other. Got to be careful now. That's harder ball handling than you think it is, particularly when your F gets ahead of steam and he's coming and he's wanting to get out there, because in his mind, he will outrun the whole world and go score. But you got to work on this exchange. There's 2 different ways you can do it. You can take the snap, and the one can just extend the ball straight ahead, hand it to the X, and then he can turn and run. Or, once again, he can take the snap, and he can open at 90 degrees, put the ball in his right hand. The X will have his right elbow up, and he'll secure the snap. The big thing that you look at right here, what you've got is the 1 and the 2, your quarterback and your tailback, are now going to go opposite, which is going to hold your Mike backer and hold your Sam. What actually is probably going to end up happening is you're probably going to get some reaction that looks almost like this. You're probably going to get this, and then you're going to get them reacting back to the ball late. All right, so that's what makes this play very good. Now, everybody else out here is going. when you're running a jet sweep, this guy's coming so fast. All right. Now it's going to be a little different in youth football. He won't be coming across there like, you know, our man at the Kansas City Chiefs or something like that. But he'll be coming pretty fast. They don't even worry if they don't block the nose on this play in the NFL or college. They don't worry about it because that guy's gone. There's no way a big nose guard is going to make this play or even really this three technique. Now they want to get something on this end out here unless the play is going completely away, and that's more sophisticated than we want to get into tonight. But the big thing is make your defender come inside and then get to the next level. And this guy right here, he's really going to just try to get outside of everything. And the only thing that he might be inside of will be this corner right here. But the jet sweep is an excellent play. I think you can run it at the youth level as well. All right. A couple things here. Let me go right here. Guys, or coaches, this is, I went and I just went to our search bar and typed in sweep. So you can see right there between youth and varsity, just how many, and we got flag sweeps too, but just there are 6 different pages of sweeps in here. So obviously I'm not going to be able to show you all the different formations that you can run a sweep out of, but I tried to hit on, you know, some of the foundational things that I believe in with the sweep. And then as always with FirstDown PlayBook, you know, we give you the coaching points for that specific play of how we think it should be coached up. And once again, you have the ability to edit that play before you print them out or make your playbook or whatever, because at the end of the day, it's your football team. You should coach it the way you want to. Okay. All right. So we're gone about 31 minutes right now. Let's open this thing up for some questions, because we usually get enough questions. We'll go back and maybe hit on some things that I skipped over or whatnot. Kendall, do we have any yet?
Not yet.
Okay, give us some questions, gang. That's what it's for. I can't believe I didn't do that good a job. There's got to be something going on. What we got, Kendall? I see one up there now.
So this one is from Kevin. X-jet sweep blocking, thoughts on crisscrossing Y on the CB and Z hitting the DE.
All right, you want to slow down a little bit there, Kendall.
Okay.
Hold on. All right, so I understood the jet sweep part. Now keep going.
X-jet sweep blocking, thoughts on crisscrossing the Y on the CB and Z hitting the DE.
Well, Chris, now we do our youth plays a little differently, meaning that we feel like when we say youth, we're talking about 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 11, and so we draw our players really big because we think younger players need something visual. You notice that on our varsity plays, the players fit to scale on a field. These players right here, as you can see, the tackle's so big and all that. This field is really there as much for decoration as anything else. Now, I'm bringing that up because this Z is extended out here wide. I don't think, now, if you're talking about bringing him in motion, all right, if you're talking about bringing him in motion and doing this, I don't think this isn't legal, all right? You can't bring that guy down and crack that end right there, okay? You can't do that in any league. Hold on, let me get this back the way I want it. Now, I think this is what you're talking about. Now, you can do this. There are people that don't even block the defensive end at the NFL level. What they do, though, Chris, is they fake the ball here. They take the ball, usually they're under center. They fake the ball away, and they hand it here, and everybody is blocking the other way, all right? I'm going to bear with me here. So what they're doing is they're faking it like you're blocking to the left, and even this tight end, and they feel like that end is going to squeeze so much that there's no way he won't. If he stays, if he does what a normal NFL player will do, he'll stay inside. He'll never make this play right here. He has to be the backside cutoff on this play right here. So you can do that. Now, but I don't think you can motion inside and crack this end here, all right? And I think that's what you're talking about. I think you're talking about maybe crisscross by block the corner here and block. I don't think that's legal, but maybe that's what you were talking about, not talking about. Kendall?
This one is from Rodney, and he wants to know if the jet sweep is better under center or gun for youth.
Well, it's a good question, Rodney. It's a play that has to be timed up. All right. So however you want to work it, you better let those two kids work it a lot, because it's a hard play to execute now. Looks great, all right, when it's run well, but it doesn't look so good when the ball's laying back here on the ground somewhere and everybody's trying to scramble to get it. It doesn't look so good when the X has to slow down to get it and the defense sees it. Doesn't look so good when the X comes so fast that the quarterback doesn't get it. Now he's sitting there trying to figure out what to do with it. So I think that it's better this way, because look what your quarterback has to do. He takes the snap, and a way I would coach it for young kids, take the snap and just extend it out and let the X do the work. And you tell the X, you motion in. If your timing is wrong, then you slow down and make sure you get the snap. But the key is that, and that's what makes it a hard play. The hard part about this play is, when do I ask for the snap? All right. You don't have crowd noise to worry about at youth football, but you need to make sure that your quarterback understands he better snap that ball, all right, back here. What is the point when I want to snap that ball? Is it here? In the NFL, that sucker might be about right there. In the NFL, shoot, there are people that are taking the snap and he's just taking it directly. So that's the hard part. So I would say the gun is probably better. Kendall thinks I'm rattling on too long about this one, so I better go to the next play. What you got, Kendall?
Paxton wants to know, do you recommend double team block at the point of attack?
I do. And the reason I do is, I'm going to go back. Let me go to another drawing here. If you can do this scheme. It's part of the down around scheme. Let me see if I can find, like right here. If you can get, if you've got a team that plays an outside shade on your tight end, all right, and what I'm going to do is just go to a different formation here, right? Well, let me go to edit first. I'm going to edit this play. And if you have a team, Paxton, that's going to play, it's Paxton, Kendall, right?
Correct.
So Paxton, if they're playing a head-up technique or they're playing inside as a rule, you might not need this. All right. But if you're getting a team that's going to play outside a 9 technique, and a lot of youth teams do that because they want to box everything inside, a good way of doing this is get a wing out there. Play a wing and tell that wing that we, at all costs, what you want to do is make sure we get the play started. All right. And what does get the play started means? That we get this guy blocked. Whatever happens in here, if somebody comes over the top, that's great. But we don't have to worry about getting tackled in the backfield because he beat us up the field. So I am a big believer in that. I think that you can get this. Line up with I know this is unbalanced, don't get me wrong. All right, but you can line up and motion a guy across and tell him, particularly if this guy's got his hand in the dirt, the 3-point stance, right? If he's got his hand in the dirt, he's not going to widen. He's already got his hand down. So this guy can widen and make sure he gets outside leverage, all right? And then he can stop. And now he becomes an extra guy to make sure that you get the perimeter pin on the edge. Kendall?
So this one is from Aaron. Do you like building your running game with power and sweep, or is there another combination you like? Meaning, we are trying to keep the playbook smaller, so we don't want too many plays.
Well, that's the most important thing, Aaron. I think that it goes back to what I was saying a little bit ago. You need an inside play. That's the power. You need a perimeter play, because if you don't, what they're going to do is they're going to load up inside. So a sweep. Find some play to hit out here. Find some play to hit right here in your B or C gap. Typically, that's what a power play is going to be at a youth level. It's not going to be any A gap. And then you better find a weak side perimeter play, okay? And if you're got the really young players, probably an inside play A weak side play, a strong side play is all you're really going to need. Now, don't forget, and we're not there yet. Don't forget about the good old dive now. I said that in my blog this morning on the coaches community site. And you guys, if you coaches don't know what the coaches community site is, you need to, because it's free stuff for you every single day. But I opened up the blog by saying that the only play in football older than the sweep. I said the sweep might be the oldest play in football, with apologies to the dive play. And so if I'm coaching really young kids, I'm going to have a dive play. But I'm probably going to have a sweep play too. So, yeah, I would have a sweep, I would have a power, and I would probably have a dive week. Kendall?
This one is from Charles. Would you suggest pulling both guards when running sweeps or just one?
Well, how many players on your team, Charles, do you have that are good pullers? Pulling, it's easy to draw a pull scheme up, but it's harder, to teach a kid to be able to pull, get across the formation, get up, turn his shoulder pads up, and actually get a block. If you don't have kids that can pull, all they're going to do is get out there and get in the way. So if you've got kids that can pull, I'm all for pulling the backside, because I think it makes sense. Let me go back over here to that scheme again where we were doing that. I think it just makes sense to have a simple rule of down, down, around. Now I'm pulling the center here. That's the one where to be able to snap and pull, that's probably too hard for a youth player. But I would not hesitate to pull my guards if I had two players that could pull. Hope I answered your question there. Kendall?
This one is from Antonio. How would you teach this 7 and 8-year-old without pulling the guard? How would you teach this to a 7 and 8-year-old without pulling the guard?
Well, that's this one right here. But take the jet sweep. Oh, and I reversed everything here. So let's go back. Let me flip these players back again. But y'all get a chance to see just how easy it is to use FirstDown PlayBook too. So a little shameless self-promotion there. All right, so keep in mind, and Kendall, who am I talking to here? I'm sorry.
You were talking to Antonio.
Antonio, keep in mind that a zone scheme for a 6 and 7-year-old is really hard. It's a hard concept to really learn and to grasp, because you're telling them that you're going to go block an area, and it just it doesn't register to some high school kids. I mean, I've had NFL players get to me and they've been all man scheme in college, and they're like, it took a while. So I'm a little leery about younger players being able to grasp the zone scheme. But if you were going to teach it, I would just teach it like, what do we used to call it? Pigs on parade is what they used to say, meaning that your blocking scheme looked like this. This is how you teach it. That makes sense? Everybody is doing the same thing. They're drop stepping and going, drop stepping and going. So it almost looks like a chorus line across the front. And then you tell them something shows up, you block it. Something doesn't show up, you keep going. And so that's almost how simple you're going to have to make it, all right, to be able to teach 6 and 7-year-olds this scheme. But, if you were going to do it, that's the way I would do it. I might not even talk to them about the defense if I was going to teach his own scheme to a 6, 7-year-old. But if I got to 9, 10-year-olds, I think they start getting an idea. Okay, I understand where that guy's going to be, and he's probably going to come inside. So I hope I'm helping you there. If I had a 6, 7-year-old group, I would probably have a man scheme. Go ahead, Kendall.
This one is from Ty Brown. When it comes to flag football 5-on-5, how would you run the 4-4 defense?
Flag football 5v5, 4-4 defense. I don't think you can. You only have 5 players, Ty. I don't think I understand the question. You can run a 2-2-1 or something like that. I probably am not understanding your question. Come back, Ty, and ask that question again so I can make sure I understand it. Because as you saw over here in our deal, I mean, we've got we got flag football plays. I don't know if any is showing up right here, but we've got flag football plays where you're handing a jet sweep off and things like that. But if you will, ask that question a different way so I can make sure I answer it right. Kendall?
Those are all the questions we have right now.
Okay, who were we talking to? Ty there?
Yes.
Ty, can you? I want to make sure I get your question answered, so feel free to shoot Kendall up there real quick, because I'm going to talk about a couple things here before we get off anyway. First of all, thank you very much for being on here. I hope we help you. If you are not comfortable with asking your question, you can always email us at info@firstdownapp.com. And you can always call us at this number here, 512-814-6158. Kendall or I will likely answer the phone, and she'll take a message. I'll get back to you or something like that. Now, something I want all of you to understand, we have a coaches, we have the site you're on right now that is our First Down Playbook site. We've got a ton of information in here, saves you time, helps you coach, on and on and on. And we have a free demo that you can go try that out. If you haven't tried the free demo, you need to find out how to do that. And one of the best ways of finding out how you can do that is go over here to the coaches community site. This button up here, this is at blog.firstdownplaybook.com. There's free information in here every single day, okay? Every single day we put something up, every single day. And some of it might be about some varsity stuff. Some of it might be, about how to find the webinars that we're doing right now. But like today, we talked about the sweep, what we were going to do tonight. And so if you go up here and you tap on this right here, it's going to take you to where you can sign up for the webinar. But if you go in down here and you click on this right here, it takes you to where you can actually trial First Down Playbook for free. And so that's something that I just want to make sure that you all know, all right, exists. Now, we also have a 90-day deal set up for youth coaches. And the reason I bring that up, we're getting pretty close now. The 90-day package that we have for youth coaches is every bit of what you would need, all right, over the next 3 or 4 months. Now, our costs from last year have gone way down from what we used to charge for a month. A 90-day package it's not half off, but it's probably close to 30 or 40% off than what it was last year. So keep that in mind. We've got 7 more weeks of this coming up. A good way of following that is social media and also the coaches community site. We've got a no play policy intact. If you buy First Down Playbook and you don't play this season, you get First Down Playbook all the way free this year, and then you get it next year, all right? You don't have to pay a penny. You get it for the next 2 seasons. So the last thing I just want to show you is –
I got a couple questions here, Charlie.
Okay. I just want to show you real quick that these webinars, there's a video right here on our front page, but as you go in and you go to the youth section, I go to find a play. Then I go to youth offense. Got my screen all discombobulated. And then you go down here. All of these webinars are going to show up in here. And so you'll be able to go in and actually look at these videos again and use them as a reference point down the road if you want. Kendall, what are the last questions we have before we wrap it up?
So Ty came back and said, actually, what defense would you run in a 5-5 flag football league?
Okay. All right, let's go take a look at that, because we have not been given fair time to the flag football play. So we'll go flag. Let's go defense. All right, let's go 5v5. So we've got it broken down in our area. Essentially, and I know if it's really young kids, what's happening is you're getting the ball handed off a lot. But really, if it's young kids, you're also caught in a situation to where, and they'll load up here, haven't had the 5v5 loaded up in a while, but you're in a situation where you've got to play man coverage, all right, because that's what they understand. So based on the formations, what we do is we just try to make sure a person has a person But if the ball's handed off, you've got somebody that's going to be responsible for that back that should be on it. And all the rest of them, they can come off of their man, and they come off of it. Let's just open this up right here. This is a pretty common flag formation. What I would do is play man coverage. Let's go in. We don't draw a field in, but I just want to show you how you can. You just come up here to settings, put a field in there. And the reason I want a field in is so let's say the quarterback hands off a sweep across this way right here. Well, this linebacker, all right, has got him, so he'll be feeling that way. You got a linebacker that's rushing. They should rally. But now at some point, your defensive back that's got this guy, when he's blocking, now you want to have him be outside contained, just like you would, all right, in tackle football. When this center comes out to block, or maybe they release on a route, whatever, at some point, now this linebacker needs to feel inside out. So really, Ty, what you're doing is you're trying to just make sure that you have a contain to each side, and you have alley players with your linebackers, and then you have a guy to the ball. And it might actually look like this because this guy actually has the back in man coverage. I hope that makes sense, but all you can really do is assign players, okay? Assign them, give them a pass responsibility and a run responsibility. Now, you notice that we had another one here where we had them in zone coverage. Kind of the same thing. You want to take their, let me get out of here for a second. If you want to, take them out of man coverage so they don't get run off, sometimes you can do that. You can come in here with your 5v5 defense. As it loads up here, you'll see where they're in zone coverage. And if they're in zone coverage, now they're, now they've just got two deep and they got two underneath, but their eyes can be more back inside where they see the run, but still the same thing. Rally for contain, and then force from the inside out. I hope that helped you, Ty. We need to probably do more for our flag football coaches as far as webinars go, but I promise you that there's a ton of coaching help in here for you in the flag football area. Kendall?
We got one more from Paxton. How do you teach the QB to pitch the ball?
Good question. All right, let's go over here. Let's find, I had that in the technique. All right, we're going weak right here. All right, so, and if you're going to pitch it, then Paxton, you're either going to be under center or probably in the pistol. Either way, take the snap. The quarterback's feet are going to be, they're going to be squared up, okay? So let's say he takes this snap. You want him to open at, once again, picture it as the clock, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he wants to open at 5 o'clock with his right foot, okay? And he can really, maybe even open at 6 o'clock on this one right here. And then he wants to take that, both hands, and follow through with a nice, easy toss out in front of the two. And really almost, even though you're the one tossing the ball, look it in. Look at to where you want it to go. Focus on having it out in front, somewhere around the waist level, all right? But don't be in such a hurry to boot out or get in front of the play that you give a toss that doesn't hit this guy right here on the move in front. And practice. And it's all in one motion. Snap, nice, fluid, toss it, now turn and block, or now boot out. Hope that helps you. Anything else, Kendall?
No.
All right. Thank y'all very much for being here tonight. Love the questions. Once again, it doesn't have to end tonight. Hope you come back next week, and during the week, if you got questions, let us know. But we appreciate you being here tonight. Y'all be safe, and we'll see you soon. Take care.